Hello and welcome to Jokakaka. We're talking about Jojolion in the year 2020.
And I'm Sam.
Oh, I'm Jim, and we're joined by a special guest today. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Xforts. Yeah, me. I'm here again. Well, thanks for having me.
A
Thanks
round of
for
applause,
coming.
everyone.
Now
clap.
if only we can sustain this energy for the next 4 hours as we talk about exactly 10 chapters, I believe. I
Yes.
probably should have counted
Yes,
a few
it
seconds
is
ago.
10
Yeah.
because there's two hiatuses.
It is
So yes,
11? 10?
chapters. 10 chapters. So
Okay.
we are going to be talking about today, dear viewer, chapters 94 through 103 of Jojolion. So these are all the chapters that came out in 2020,
Mm-hmm.
and this is something that we did last year. I don't know if we did it the year before.
No, I think
but
it was only last year we did that.
yeah, we started a new trend, going to keep it going forever, at least as long as Jojolion goes on. And it's just a fun way to we've reread the chapters. It's a fun way to look back and see the things that we've kind of missed. Notice where things have gone, because I'm sure you guys have the same experience that I did. It's crazy how quick these chapters read when you can sit down and read all 10 at once.
Yeah,
Yep.
whole different feeling.
It's like a whole year of my life condensed into reading for like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
And
true.
and that's like with taking notes. I just imagine someone reading for example, like back in the day when I was catching up on JoJo, it's like read part 7 in like 4 days, split up between like 8, maybe like 12 hours or something. I'm like, well, that was like 12 years of a Rocky's life that I just read it in like a week.
I think
It's
we
crazy,
talked
yeah.
about it before. It's like imagine reading the entire last part of part 7 weekly or
You don't need to
monthly,
imagine it, man. We're living it. We are living it
I
right
mean,
now.
just the entire imagine that whole love train part
That's
monthly.
exactly what we're in right now.
Yeah, and it's fun because this is why I like doing this, because it's a way to recontextualize everything we've read.
Yep.
And I think we should just jump into it.
Yeah.
But some of these things some of these chapters were just blew me away reading again. Oh, well, the one last thing I want to say, stay tuned in near the end, because we're gonna do our Jojolion. I haven't thought of a funny name for this. An award ceremony.
Well,
Uh,
this is the second annual year in review for Jojolion, but this is the first annual Jojolion award show.
Yeah, so we're gonna be giving out Jojolion Dundies to all the characters and all the moments from Jojolion.
Well, we have-
Jojolians.
so-
You literally
No,
only
wait, that
have
doesn't work.
In
we
order
have
to
one
get you
special
guys
guest.
interested in it, so don't skip to the end, of course, because we
Yeah.
have a great conversation to get into. But our categories are for the Jojolion 2020 year in review. We have best chapter,
Mhm.
character MVP, best plot revelation, best moment, and underrated moment. And now that I'm thinking about it, we are forgetting worst moment, guys. So go ahead and write that
Oh.
down, and
right.
we'll I guess we'll think of that on the spot when we get there.
Yes.
Because
Also,
after we discuss all the chapters, I'm sure we'll kind of have a unanimous agreement which one was probably the weakest.
Yeah.
So let's
and
just do worst chapter, because worst moment might be.
Well, I said
Okay,
to start
worst
out,
chapter.
anybody in the comments definitely put your recipients for these awards, the viewer
Yeah.
choice.
Actually, okay, this will be really fun. So check the description below. If you're listening to this on YouTube, check the description, and I will have a template that you can copy and paste and put in your comments. So pause the podcast right now, copy the template, post it, and then put in all of your favorite, all the ones you're choosing, and then compare at the end and see if you've matched up with your favorite member of this podcast, I guess.
All right,
Uh,
go ahead.
Yeah, sick. Okay, you've unpaused the podcast. Thank you for rejoining. What a fun little thing that we've suddenly miraculously thought to do.
Hey, that's work you wanted to do.
Hey, it is work that I want to do, but it'll pay off because I love seeing what everyone has to say about Jojolion.
Mm-hmm.
So, I guess we can just jump right into it. So, chapter 94, Yasuho is in the toilet still. That is how far back, and how not far back the beginning of 2020 was for Jojolion.
It wasn't called Endless Calamity Part, whatever.
Yeah, it was called
Dangerous Pursuit Part 6 was where the year started, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe Dangerous Pursuit in
There's,
the
two
in the
different
volume
names.
re-release, Dangerous Pursuit has been combined with The Wonder of You,
Yeah,
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
Wonder of
currently,
your miraculous
so-
love.
Yeah, exactly. So this is The Wonder of You, Your Miraculous Love, Part 11. So that is the
Yes.
official, I'm guessing the official name of this chapter now.
Because before
Uh,
Dangerous Pursuit, it was called something else. But then they combined the previous arc with Dangerous Pursuit to make Wonder of You, Miraculous Love, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how Araki does that. Goes back and renames chapters, which is, I guess, kind of good for the reader so we don't spoil anything, because I don't think we knew the stand was called Wonder of You yet. But for people reading it, like, that aren't reading it monthly, they kind of get spoiled on the stand name.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember this was like maybe last year, but when the volume releases were catching up, that was like one of the first reveals that we got. One of the old chapters was renamed The Wonder of You, and then we hadn't like seen that stand yet, and I was like, oh, what is this? Like,
Yeah. Do you guys
that was
ever
really
have those
exciting.
moments when you're reading, catching up with JoJo? Specifically in like part 7 and 6, Araki would do this where like it'd be the first chapter of a new arc, and then at the end of the chapter, like there would be a page that explains the stand's ability before you even like seen it or the user, and it's like, oh, so
Yeah.
this is what we're in store for. So I wonder, so if you guys remember, like this was maybe like 2 months ago or last month, I think, when Araki officially confirmed like Wonder of You's ability in the stand user and everything.
Yeah, that was 103.
But that wasn't part of a chapter. I think that was added to a volume. So
Oh.
I wonder whether it's going to be, because like the actual like download for the chapter, that wasn't on any of the chapter pages. That was I think it was an excerpt from one of the volume releases. So I wonder what chapter that's going to be thrown in. Like when Araki wanted Wonder of You's ability to be explained.
Huh, interesting, yeah.
So it was probably volume 25, I would think, because that's the most recently released one.
All
We'll
right,
find
so
out.
yeah, jumping back into chapter 94, obviously we're still like right in the middle of this whole sort of standoff where Yasuho is in
Crumbling.
dire straits and drowning in a toilet bowl.
It's crumbling.
Also for me the first like big like kind of like comeback, let's call it, is we see the walleyes, and this was like a big deal. Like people forget the walleyes hadn't been like shown for a very long time, and then we just get this like not a full page spread, but it's like half a page. We get the funny walleye face that everyone loves.
The pog face.
It kind of looks like Death from Soul Eater.
Oh yeah, it does.
The way that the nose like comes down. Yeah, I think I remember titling this like Araki remembered or something, because everyone was like so hyped that Araki had mentioned the walleyes. And it's
That
not
could be a
that like he
running-
just drew the walleyes again, but it's the fact that he put dialogue in that keeps continuity from the beginning of the part, when the whole thing, like, this is a story about breaking the curse and how the family would carry the youngest, like the oldest member of the family would carry the youngest into the walleyes, into the shrine, and perform the equivalent exchange. And Jobin says that like Norisuke was going to do this, and honestly, I want to read that part. I like where Jojolion's gone, but I want to read an alternate version of this where Norisuke actually sacrifices himself to save Tsurugi, and like see what the hell is inside this walleye. So if you guys have the chapter pulled up, on page 4, like you see the walleye face, and then it's a zoom in on like the entrance to it. And for some
Yeah.
reason, ever since the beginning of Jojolion, I always thought there was like something in the walleyes, or we would like go in them at some point. And this zoom in is like, I just want to see what's behind that wall, and if there's anything like supernatural or some to that extent that would like give us a reason why these can perform these equivalent exchanges. Because like way back in the day, I had made a theory where it's like Johnny Joestar was buried here, and he had became a saint, and his body, like, because he died in Japan, like literally like right next to the Higashikata estate almost. So I always thought, and he had that shrine dedicated to him
Yeah.
on Shakedown Road. And I kind of forget my own video at this point, but I remember it being somewhat compelling to the point where like maybe there's a corpse part buried here or something that would be able to perform that equivalent exchange. Because like there's really no other explanation other than it being like a devil's palm. But devil's palms haven't been known to perform exchanges in Steel Ball Run, so
Well, you see the stander is going to be inside that cave.
yeah,
Never
there's
have that whole thing.
they, like
and the stone mask.
we really still need an explanation on why the land is blessed, and
Yeah,
and
I think
that hasn't really been explored yet.
I think you're like right on the money. Like I really think that it's got to have to do with Johnny being buried there. Like
That would be
I mean-
really awesome. That's like almost like a fanfic theory, but
The
that would be
Lucy
cool.
stuff the Lucy stuff gives me hope, man.
Yes. Oh, I have that in my notes as well. We got in
We'll get
whatever
there.
chapter it was.
yeah,
got a
dude, that was
flashback
another
to the
big
original
pop off
universe.
moment.
That was sick. But there was a great start to the year with chapter 94. We got like probably Jobin's best monologue, honestly, and like a reaffirmation of what he wants to do. So, I mean, before Jobin's motivation, like us as readers are always like, we really want to know what these characters want. And Jobin's gone back and forth where he wanted the fruit parlor to be successful, and he wanted to kind of change the things that Norisuke's been doing. Norisuke is a very like stuck in stone way. He wants to do things traditionally, even if it's not the most optimal way to do things. And Jobin was all like, you know, if we get less expensive fruit, it'll make barely any impact on the customers and we can save so much money. And everyone was like, so Jobin just wants money. But then now it's like, well, you know, Jobin he just wants what's best for the family. And what he thinks that is making it so we no longer need to sacrifice ourselves to heal ourselves from this curse and essentially break the curse that the family's under through harvesting the new Jokakaka. So in this chapter, you get a framework for Jobin's motivation, and it's honestly pretty noble. And that's kind of Jobin's whole character. Like, he has a noble cause, and what he wants to do isn't necessarily bad, but he just goes about it in the wrong way. And that's the difference between him and Norisuke.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. Like, for me, revisiting these chapters, Jobin is like a huge standout, and like, I don't know if this is controversial to say,
For the
but
first
I'm
half.
like, yeah, for the first half for sure, yeah. But I'm like very convinced that Jobin is the quote unquote main villain. I don't like using this term, but
I know,
like,
I know. In terms of like how he's up against Josuke, I would
exactly.
consider him that as
He's
well.
a man antagonist. Doesn't have to invent, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I've gone on so many fucking rants about how I don't like the term main villain and how it's kind of like weird to compare a character like Kira to a character like Cars. And like, even like whatever. I don't need to rehash all that stuff, but like
Yeah.
for the purposes of like the term main villain, I think that like Jobin is being perfectly situated, especially with these chapters, as like the kind of like alternate force to Gappy. Like he is like the anti-Gappy basically.
I mean, he's had the most build up for like so long now.
For sure. Like of any of the quote like the antagonists that we've seen, like he definitely has like even early on, like the beetle tendency meme, like that is like very explicitly like painting Jobin as this mysterious sort of dangerous, unpredictable figure.
Even especially the Ojiro chapter, especially.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of like cementing it. And so another thing about this chapter of 94 is it kind of is like it's almost like a fresh reset of our situation. Like we hadn't seen the Higashikata family for a long time, and in this one we're like shown like all of Jobin's family, like Tsurugi and Mitsuba, but we also see Hato and Dai, who we haven't seen in forever. So it's kind of like setting the stage for like what we know, we've been foreshadowed, like horrible events are about to happen.
Yeah.
As well as the reveal of the new Jokakaka's design. Was the last thing we saw in this chapter, which is interesting to see that it actually has like a new form, which I don't know, kind of cool looking fruit. But more on like Jobin and what he wants to achieve. Like honestly, if these characters would just talk to each other, like they could totally come to a middle ground of some sort. Because like, yeah, Josuke is our main protagonist, but I genuinely feel like he has one of like the weakest motivations for wanting the fruit. Like it almost feels like selfish. Like he wants the fruit to keep it away from people that he considers evil. I mean, if he had the fruit, what would he do with it? Maybe heal Holly. Maybe heal Holly in some way. But other than that, like, what else is he gonna do with it? He's not gonna sell it for money or anything like that.
He don't care for that.
Or if he thinks it's like it's one of those things where it's like it's so powerful it shouldn't even exist. Maybe something like that he has in mind. But like, okay, we heal Holly. Yeah, Holly's his mom, and then like, what's after that? Like, why can't they use? They're literally family members. They're both sons in the Higashikata family. Like, if they would just get along and work things out, like it could just be the family's fruit to break the curse essentially. Because Holly is being like affected by the Higashikata curse. So what Josuke wants to do is exactly what Jobin wants to do too. So if they could just be like, hey, let's harvest this fruit, but can I have one to heal Holly and you can have one to heal Tsurugi and keep harvesting them. So for the rest of time, the family can be cured from this curse. Like, they could just work it out.
It's not like he hates Tsurugi or anything. Like
I know, like it's like even Jobin, they could go to each other and be like, hey, let's set our differences aside. This is for the greater good of the family, and yeah, that's it. And I don't see why Josuke is kind of stubborn. He'd be like, no, soft and wet.
I think Jobin's probably the most like the Higashikata he hates the most, but like still he wouldn't do that to like a kid even.
I think like the issue here is that Jobin has like. I feel like it's a bit speculation to say, but it's not so out of the realm of imagination. But Jobin has done bad things in the past, and he's only escalated his like sort of evil behavior. And like obviously, I would say that culminates with murdering Ojiro and what's her name? Ojiro's GF, his
Yeah,
sort of sugar mama.
I genuinely don't think she had a name.
She did.
Whatever,
was like a
unimportant.
nut or
Started with an
something.
H, started with an M. One of
Oh,
those letters?
Makorin. It's Makorin. Yes, Sam.
Makonnen,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
But okay, so I think that was kind of like showing that Jobin is very one-track mind to the point where he would not, and he will not cooperate if it's not like him getting everything. Like he needs to, he's all kind of all or nothing kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
And like the way he's able to kind of like in this chapter in particular, 94, we're still in 94. He's able to convince Mitsuba to come to his side, and like even the idea, he doesn't even know why Yasuho is there. The tiniest idea that she's even involved in this means that she must die. Like that is how like thrown off his morals are.
It was more so less of Jobin convincing Mitsuba. It was more so Mitsuba's fear of the head doctor.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
does play a part in it too.
Like Jobin says all that to her, and then she like sees the head doctor outside or something, and she's like, every time I see this man, bad things will happen. This is a calamity. Like I don't want anything bad to happen to my family. So it was really the head doctor's presence that caused her to really destroy Yasuo,
Mhm.
and in turn join Jobin's side. But I don't think she necessarily agrees with Jobin.
That's actually, yeah, that's a good point.
Also,
Good. Now that I'm re-looking at
that's-
the chapter,
I
like
said
I mean,
one-
oh
I
yeah,
say
sorry,
one,
Sam.
one thing I noticed in this chapter was just like she looked out the window, she could see the head doctor, but it always looked like Jobin was like looking outside with her and just couldn't see him as well. Like
Mhm.
it was definitely something that's like planted on like certain people that have actually like at the hospital. But I always thought like that was interesting because Jobin can never see him, but he still got affected. So like, I always thought like that was going to be a big thing that he couldn't see, so maybe he could do something. But as we learn, that's not the case.
Yeah, it's funny how many like I had so many theories about the head doctor that seem to just kind of like melt away. Because when you're reading Jojolion monthly, you have so much time to formulate all of these like potential realities, and then like when you actually are reading it like sequentially, like really quickly, you just notice that things kind of flow more.
You don't have time to focus on very small plot points that are very insignificant that you make more of a big deal than they actually are. So it's just
Yep.
like you don't when reading monthly. It is good. It does have a certain hype quality to it, being in a sense of like camaraderie with all the other JoJo fans, being like, okay, new month, new chapter, like let's get into it. It's gonna be awesome. Can't wait to see what's gonna happen. But like you definitely get tunnel visioned on certain plot elements that you might think are significant, but Araki really didn't put any thought into at all. So you kind of like make these false expectations.
Or at least not now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the other thing too. It's like you don't know what things have been like kind of teased 20 chapters ago that are now just suddenly
Yep.
being brought up again.
I mean, probably one of the biggest things was Yasha losing her arm in this chapter was also like a huge thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, she
Um,
got tag teamed, so she got flushed down the toilet, and then after that, she sees the head doctor, and he like turns his face so she can kind of get affected by the ability, and then she falls and gets her arm broken off, and that's something I wrote in my notes here. It says Yasuo abuse, and like genuinely, that was one of my least favorite things about this year, is that Yasuo's character just
half.
got shit on and shit on, and shit on some more, just for it to be completely redacted like 2 chapters ago. So I just don't I really that it's not even a gripe with this year. It's the whole part. Yasuo has been used to make characters look evil or have a character do a bad thing, but it really
Yeah.
doesn't have any significance to her character at all. She's literally just a punching bag. And I think that's such a bad use, not a bad use, but such an underuse of her character.
It was the joke of like Yasha has been suffering for X amount of months now.
Well, it's just like
So,
that's what she
yeah.
was delegated to for this entire year. Like, what did Yasuo do this year? Literally nothing. Literally just got
Yeah.
beat up for 10 chapters, and it's
She
like,
probably has a lot of people's favorite moment of the year
Uh.
though, of like or led to it. So
yeah, true, but I don't know. It's just I feel like she could be used for something more.
yeah,
I like
mean,
her
it did
character,
show
and it
that
just-
like. Because I remember when Toru says, "If you see my face, you're just going to die," like kind of thing. So she did see more of the head doctor's face, and that caused her to go through more calamity. Not
yeah,
so-
we still don't even know what the consequence is going to be of her calling
yeah,
Kei Nijimura. So
Yeah.
there's still more suffering Yasuo has to go through. But
it's more suffering.
that is a really good point. I don't want to like stay hung up on that for too long because
It was a
we're
year
only
of
on the first
suffering.
chapter. But yeah, like
it's
she
not
really
that it's not
didn't-
just that it was a year of suffering. It's that it was a year of nothing but suffering.
Yeah. Oh, it encapsulated 2020 pretty good though.
Yeah. Although, like in terms of this being animated or something, this would probably be the span of like 7 episodes or something, maybe even less.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah.
Maybe
But
it'd be like 10.
so I think the other big thing before we move on is the head doctor kind of saves Yasuho here in a way. Like,
Stops her from being flushed.
yeah, he's the reason why she isn't flushed down the toilet. Like he makes sure that Mitsuba fucks up her waking three leaves, and it ends up like coincidentally breaking the wall open and then the reveal.
Yeah,
of
I
the
thought that was
fruit.
more so to reveal the fruit. I never interpreted it as he was saving Yasuo.
I don't think he has enough control to like focus it to reveal the fruit though. I thought it was just a way to like I don't
I
know.
don't know. I don't want to set any limits on his power because I feel like he always
Yeah.
It could have just been like we've seen that it doesn't he can cause calamities even if you're not even pursuing him. That has very clearly been a thing. So like just Mitsuba taking action, I guess, could have caused a calamity, and then like that calamity, the target would be Jobin
Yeah.
because
I just
negatively
see
affected him.
the way I saw this was like Toru is being like horrible to Yasuho, but he's also kind of being like her guardian angel here.
Oh, also don't forget he's just munching on a burger while that's happening.
That's what the thing I love the most. Like this motherfucker. That's in the next one, right? The next chapter.
Yeah.
Or,
Which he calls him at the end.
or wait, is that a little later? But whatever.
That's a little later.
It's two
But
more
yeah,
chapters.
so I just love this whole time. You think that Toru would be like, I don't know.
What?
In my mind, you'd think that he'd be closer by, but I guess this motherfucker is just or he's so confident in his power. He's just like, yeah, I'll just like grab some lunch
'Cause-
while I'm murdering some
Wait,
people.
think about it. He wasn't looking for the fruit because he just finds out that the fruit's there when he gets the call from Yashaho. Not like he sent like the head doctor to look at it. It's only till then that the head doctor's stand gets sent inside the estate.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, let's move on to the next chapter then, because we already spent a lot of time on that one. I like that chapter. I thought it was very good.
Well, I said we gotta spend time in these early chapters because this is what everybody's not nearly as fresh on.
That's true. Yeah.
So
So on to
Um,
chapter 95, which was an absolute juicer. Okay, so this is the Norisuke versus Jobin conflict, and what is eventually going to lead into the flash forward, and kind of when everyone was speculating like what happened to Norisuke. Well, this is what happened. Speed King took him out. So
also
I really,
Tsurugi is like suffering horribly.
yes, but I think we know at some point Tsurugi is going to get better, which will probably be through the new Jokakaka, which in the flash forward, which I don't even know if I want to go off the flash forward that much because it was really long ago, and I feel like there is a world where that is just completely retconned, or the events are laid out differently than what we interpret in the flash forward. But
I don't know. We'll see.
in this chapter, Norisuke has a very good conversation with Jobin, and just the tension between them was personally one of my favorite moments of this entire year. And I really like the dialogue used between Norisuke, how, he is progressive in a way, and he's like, Jobin, like, I understand, like, I am willing to change, and I will accept change, but only if it's done in a noble way, and he uses the term walking the right path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jobin doesn't really, or Jobin believes he is walking the right path, but in reality, he's not.
I just love the last two chapters mainly take place around a toilet, though. I find that just beautiful.
Yes, they're in like one of the characters' offices or something. It's in like a study.
One of my favorite no context lines is "Dad, put that smartphone back in the water," or
That's a good
over
one.
like, the toilet.
Yeah. This chapter I think is just like stellar. Like
Yes.
So
it is so incredible how much happens, and it like I think these are the moments that I like live for the most in JoJo in general, are just like these like two big like characters kind of like having these big like ideology clashes, and like the things can only bubble up so much before they explode, and like we see it truly explode in this chapter.
yes,
Yeah.
and this moment was also the culmination of Ojiro's return, which everyone was kind of
Yes,
wondering about
yes.
what was up with Ojiro's return. Why was he even brought back into the story just to die?
We
Well,
love that so much. Everybody
Yeah.
didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
so the 2 chapters we spent with Ojiro, and I mean, it was really cool seeing Speed King track down Ojiro using remotely. I genuinely enjoyed those chapters, and we got that really weird sequence where Tsurugi King Crimson Ojiro. I still don't know what the hell is up with that, but that was 2019, not 2020. But you see that the reason why, pretty much, Ojiro was brought back into the story was to get killed by Jobin, but then to show Jobin in a bad light, because when the fruit is revealed and King Nothing Norisuke uses King Nothing on the fruit for some reason. Like, where did this come from, I guess? And King Nothing makes Ojiro. And then, like, back a few chapters ago, there was a scene where Norisuke was watching the news, and it was like Ojiro and his girlfriend were dead. And now this is the result of all those little things being put in the story, where Norisuke looks at Jobin, and he looks at King Nothing appearing as Ojiro, and it's like he literally puts the puzzle pieces together, like, as a stand would do. And it's like, Jobin, you killed Ojiro, you killed his girlfriend, like, you were the person that did this, that they were looking for on the news, like, and you get this really sick panel where Jobin is just covered in shadows, and you have the news flicking behind him and pictures of Ojiro, and it's like, those 2 chapters were totally worth this payoff.
Yeah.
And I don't see any other way that Jobin would have been portrayed in, like, a negative light here, because, like, the whole family's here too, and they just see him as, like, a murderer now, like, murdered 2 people, so...
I remember everybody...
And then he fucking... Well, it's unclear at first what happens with when he uses Speed King on Norisuke, but in the next chapter, I think he does to say to them, like, he's fine, like, Dad is okay.
He's basically in a coma, essentially.
Yeah, but, like, so we have this, yeah, like...
There's also the chapter people called Father shows his asshole to his family, because he showed Speed King off to everyone, or King Nothing to everyone. Oh, I guess Jobin did too, he showed off Speed King to them.
It's just, yeah, like, I think... It's funny because I've said this before, and people really get on Araki's case about, like, all these tiny little, like, things that, like, fall by the wayside. And I think JoJo in general isn't really, like, very meticulously plotted. Like, it's not like there's all these little breadcrumbs, but this is, like, one time where I think that there's so many, like, as you just explained, like, you got, like, the newscast and, like, all these tiny, like, little elements that are weaving together to this, like, legitimately, like, great. And it's not even, like, a plot twist. Like, to Norisuke it's a plot twist, but to us it's like all these things that have just been, like, on this, like, course or trajectory of, like, oh no, bad things happening.
It just works.
We've been so used to villains just being so evil, but, like, when he has to do it, he's, like, sobbing, like...
Yes, that is...
Oh, how much compassion did you ever get from a villainous character in JoJo? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
So people have said, like, you know, you can just cut the Ojiro bits, but, like, in this situation, if Ojiro wasn't brought back into the story, it creates that hostile tension and that like ominous feel to Jobin. And without that, this scene would essentially be nothing, really.
Yeah, it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't
even that long ago. It's not like it was like something in, like, the earlier chapters, and then just now brought back. That isn't, like, people complain about, like, that, but no, it wasn't that long ago. If you think about it, chapter wise, like, if you read it, like, in, like, one go, it probably wouldn't feel like that long ago.
So right after we see that King Nothing plays back Ojiro's effects, that leads out the window, and then Norisuke also sees Yasuo out there on the ground, and Norisuke likes Yasuo. He considers Yasuo, like, Joshu's girlfriend, kind of, like, good friends. And he sees Yasuo out there, like, and then he like, slowly pans back to Jobin, and he's like, what the hell, like, are you doing? And in that sequence is when Jobin is crying, tears running down his face, and he's, like, forced to do this. Like, the way that Jobin's acting right now, it's like the trope, cover up a kidnapping with another kidnapping with another kidnapping.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, he doesn't really know what to do here, but he wants to do what he thinks is right, but it just, he doesn't really have any other option here. He's like, well, kill Ojiro, then I gotta hurt my dad, and now, like, I gotta argue with the whole family.
Yeah, he wanted his father to see his point of view, and since he was going to be, like, an object now in front of him, he had to do what he had to do, so, and it sucks. He didn't want to do that.
It's really funny because, like, I've been watching the Fargo TV show. If you're familiar with Fargo,
I've been meaning to, though.
It's great, and the movie, I love the movie. It's one of my favorite movies. But basically, the whole plot of, like, every season of that show, because they're all separate, and the movie is, like, a normal person that just gets into a crime accidentally, and then, like, everything just escalates more and more until they're, like, doing horrible things, and it's just, like, it's funny to, like, that just connection happened in my brain, like. Yeah, Jobin is kind of, like, in a way, a victim of circumstance in these things. Like, he's doing what he thinks is the right path. Even
I wouldn't necessarily say victim of circumstance, because he's made the circumstances.
That's true. I take that back. Yeah, that was just like a, but, like, he's clearly, like, taking all of the wrong choices. Like, he's making, like, as Norisuke's saying, like, the righteous path. Like, he's taking, like, something lesser than that.
He's taking some renegade pathway in his Mass Effect game that he's playing.
Yeah.
I also love the image of, like, the King Nothing's, like, puzzle pieces just falling apart like as well in the scene.
Good
I
to
thought
see King
that's-
Nothing as well. I genuinely didn't think we were ever
And
going
there
to see it
goes King
again.
Nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, it just and also just I think this chapter is one of the most beautiful. Like the way that he draws the puzzle pieces forming Ojiro is like it just looks awesome to me. I can't explain it. Like it just looks incredible.
Page 36, I'm just noticing, is drawn like exactly the same way when Josuke is holding Holly. It's a nice like nice duality there between the two characters.
Damn.
Them trying to save their family members.
But
Ugh,
yeah, but then we
This
get
is yeah. This
You
is
see,
good.
if you have the
Jojolion's
chapter,
good.
if you have the chapter open, and I don't want to reference too many images because I know it's an audio cast, but if you guys want to see something cool, I might make a tweet of this. But yeah, I never noticed that on page 36, chapter 95, the way that Jobin is holding Norisuke really parallels that epic scene with Josuke and Holly.
And that's why I think Jobin will be the main villain. It's just like they're pairing up too perfectly.
Yeah, well, that gets on to the later chapters. How can he be a main villain if he's dead?
We'll get there.
Yeah. So we get to him threatening like the rest of the family. That shot, I love that shot so much.
Yeah, this is like his real like Joker-fied. Like Jobin has been Joker-fied in this moment.
He's a Joker baby.
Where he's like even threatening his family. Like I mean, obviously he already hurt Norisuke, but like even his siblings, like no one is safe from him.
But
You-
don't forget, it's also started people getting on the Joshu redemption train early.
Oh,
Have you guys seen all Breaking Bad?
I have
I
not.
have.
It reminds me of when they have to call the Hoover Master guy, and Walter like he can't explain it to Junior and Skylar, but he gets home and he's like, gotta go now, and he's like trying to do what's best for the family, and the family is like it's been a sequence of Walter's bad decisions leading up to him needing to like be threatening towards his family, but for what he thinks is the right thing to do, and that kind of reminds me of the way that Jobin has to talk to his siblings right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they're kind of like scared of him.
Just this situation, instead of meth, it's fruit.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, don't forget this. Yeah,
Like the
like I
quote,
said-
like "We're a family." Like I feel like that's so Jobin right now.
Mm.
yeah. Then we got Joshu kicking the phone to the outlet, which or alluded to that. So we basically people think, oh my God, Joshu's gonna be redeemed.
Nope.
Yes,
Nope.
it's funny because it's not like explicitly ever brought up, but yeah, I think it's pretty. At least that's the way I interpret it. Is like Jobin or
it
not
zooms
Jobin.
into Joshu like pretty clearly,
Yeah,
and
Joshu
his
kicking
foot.
the phone, saving
And-
Yasuo.
and his shoe. Yeah, safe to assume that, unless Paisley Park crawled with on like out of the phone like that, like pushed the phone over there.
Mhm. All right.
But that's about it for 95, I
Yeah.
believe. Otherwise,
Yeah, it looks like it.
yeah. But just like the end of 95, there's a really cool sequence where we see that culmination of a lot of the elements that were in 2019's chapters, like Tsurugi hurting his classmate by the gate. Even Wu Tomiki makes an appearance there, and Ojiro and his girlfriend, and just kind of a nice little recap that illustrates
player.
that everything up until like the past 12 chapters or so have kind of led up to this point right here.
Yeah, it really feels like this. I feel like the second half, the first and second half of Jojolion kind of feel like their own like entities. Like the first half, I feel is kind of just setting up a lot of character stuff, and then
Yeah,
now that we're like
I-
into like the plot stuff, it's kind of like dominoes falling.
Yeah, when I think about it, it's kind of similar to the way that Araki wrote Steel Ball Run. So, like, about 1/3 of Steel Ball Run is Gyro's story. Gyro's the main character. It's him kind of coming into himself and, entering the true man's world. So you have Gyro, the main focus of him, and then when you hit Ringo Road again is Gyro's main villain. Like they contrast each other, their designs contrast each other as well as abilities, and that fight is just super good. And at the end of that, Gyro's story arc has essentially concluded, and he's entered the true man's world, so then we can focus on Johnny. And then after that, then we get all of Johnny's evolutions, and it's more Johnny's story. So the way I think about Steel Ball Run, or the way I think about Jojolion, is that the first half is a story of mystery and self-discovery and identification, and it's Josuke discovering who he is, and then because like every character Josuke met, he's like, can you tell me who I am? Like, who am I? When he met Carrera, when he met Yasuo, when he met everyone, that was everything he wanted to do. And then he discovered the true nature of his identity. He's the fusion between the two, and that was around chapters like 40, 50, something like that.
It's like the demo stuff.
Yeah,
I think
led
is kind of when-
into the Damo Tamaki thing. So that was like, in a way, I would say like everyone's like, oh, Damo Tamaki, great minor villain. Ringo Road again, great minor villain. And then they're like similar parts in the story. So that would consider the Damo stuff the end of the first half of Jojolion, which is almost like a separate part. Like the part we're in right now, when we like get introduced to Mamuzuku, it's almost like Jojolion Part 2. So I think that's another reason why this part is so long. Because it really is like two separate stories.
Yeah, it's just neat. It makes me really want to just like reread through everything again.
Yeah.
But that'll
like,
happen one day.
Like you could genuinely read Jojolion and then stop at the Damo Tamaki stuff and have the ending be Josuke finding his identity, and that would be a good story in its own. But now we're into fighting a villain.
I feel like JoJo has that in like every part, not like as clearly as probably as 7 and 8, however, but like you could say that for like part 1, like when the first Dio fight, and then the second half of that when he starts learning Hamon and everything. Even like the part 3 is split up like.
It's just kind of like the story structure.
Yeah, like 4 is like the first like fight was Kira, and it's just like every part can kind of like you can kind of pinpoint that halfway shift to another like separate story.
Yes.
Or arc.
But,
totally.
I don't know if you guys had any other words to mention about 95. For me personally, really good chapter.
Okay. Prison Break.
So getting on to, I think we can just kind of conform all of 96, 97, and 98 into their own little segment here. So this is pretty much when we switch back over to Josuke and Mamuzuku, no longer on the family. And these chapters were all kind of a lull for me. I feel like these were the lowest points of the year, and leading kind of a break from that you need peaks and valleys, you need highs and lows in your manga. So we had that big peak with Jobin and Norisuke, and then when we sort of bring it down and we switch over and build up to the conflict we're in right now. But before that, we had this lull period with Mamuzuku in jail, getting out of jail, getting to Josuke enacting his plan of making the head doctor come to him. And yeah, some of these chapters were a miss for me. Some of them were a little shorter, and just not really a lot happening in them. But
the jailbreak was so weird to me.
It was very weird, and like the most relevant thing in that chapter to me was Wonder of You's karmatic retribution, which has never been mentioned again.
Yes.
But Araki wrote it. And he wrote it for a purpose, but then when Wonder of You's ability was explained, it did not mention karmatic retribution whatsoever, but we literally see in the manga that if you are a bad person, if you put bad energy into the world, that karma will be reflected back to you in like a more amplified calamity. So that's a thing that was never really mentioned again, but...
Just let it reverberate in your brain, don't forget it.
Yep.
Remember when a bunch of maggots came out of food?
Yeah, I think it's okay. I do want to kind of play defense for chapter 96 because I think the second half is actually like really good, but the first half does kind of feel like what you're saying. Like, all right, we spent a lot of time in this really emotional scene. Let's kind of have a jokey or like a little more lighthearted scene where we've got a funny character. Araki loves to insert his little funny, crazy characters with the jailbreak, and like I also love the way that Mamuzuka gets out of prison is. Like he
makes him stab himself and then just hides in his like under his sweater in his sweater pants.
Yeah, he unravels himself to hide in this guy's like clothing, which is funny. But so the second half of that chapter is like honestly one of the coolest moments I think of the year. Maybe we'll see with the little award ceremony later. But so we have Jobin thinking that everything's like Yasuo's whatever gone. He kind of failed with that, but now he's got this whole situation to deal with. But then Mitsuba notices the head doctor, and like all of these little like the way the head doctor starts to move through objects, like she sees him in like reflections and he's moving through like objects in ways that we haven't seen, is like real good Araki horror to me. Like I really appreciate this stuff.
I said that was when after she called Toru, so he kind of moves in because he finds out the thing's in there. He's trying to find it, so it's just really cool to like confirmation that everybody was still like doubting like or wasn't sure about Toru yet. Like at this point.
Yeah, I did like the way Araki illustrated that, the abstract movements of Wonder of You and the way it was going through glass and going through a picture frame and just
it's very
more
cool.
stuff the stand could do, I guess.
Yeah, it's just from like a visual standpoint, because I know like for Araki, like visual aesthetic is like very high on his to-do list. I really liked all those elements.
He really likes stands coming out of things. Like when he does it, he really likes to do it.
So in all of these chapters here, there were a lot of Wonder of You, especially like when Mamuzuku finally breaks out of prison, and then you have that sequence where Mamuzuku and Wonder of You are both racing to Josuke, essentially. Not really racing, but they're just making
Fast
their way
walking.
to him. Yeah, they're fast walking. That actually is what they're doing. And
Well,
they're like,
Josuke is just sitting there. Josuke is waiting for the head doctor to come to him.
did I say I meant Mamuzuku? When
Okay.
when Mamuzuku is out of prison, and Mamuzuku and the head doctor are walking through the hospital, and they like see each other in the lobby, and then they're going up the stairs together, and then they like meet outside the door together, and you see some cool illustrations like where Wonder of You has the love train effect on it, and I think this could lead into a conversation I want to have about the head doctor and the stand part of it, and just how absolutely just absurd it is in what it can do, and just everything. I was talking to a friend last night, and we were just talking about Jojolion, and like, Wonder of You can be anywhere, and it can be 2 places at the same time. It could probably be 3 places at the same
pretty sure
time.
it's been 3.
It can use its ability on multiple people in different areas at the same time. Like, but then when we got that page, it's like, yes, the head doctor is. It can switch between its stand version and the human version, but it's like, I'm reading this and I'm like, all right, okay, but where does it mention it being able to make shadow clones and be multiple places and all of this? Because like obviously the head doctor isn't, or the stand isn't walking back and forth between the hospital and the estate, but like, it's there. It can carry on 2 different conversations at the same time and use its ability and fight multiple people at the same time. So I just
At the
don't.
same time,
it-
relaying that information back
Yeah.
to Toru.
Mm-hmm. It
feels
really,
a
it really
little
is
broken.
confusing.
Like, it does feel a little broken in some regards. Like, I think he just kind of overstretched its power in some scenes. Like, we see Mitsuba is really like the one that has been targeted for the longest time. And there's that one scene where she's preparing dinner, and like every other time a character got attacked by the Wonder of You, it was because they were like physically moving towards it, or at least moving, like, whatever, you could say progressing the plot maybe. But like Mitsuba is literally just making dinner and it starts attacking her. Like,
I
it
know.
makes her cut her
Broken.
fingers off, and then like the water explodes. It's like, so he can just attack people that aren't even like thinking about, like, I don't know, that to me that seems like he could just kill anybody at any time and they wouldn't be able to fight back, because where is he?
Yeah, it seriously is broken. And I really wish that would have been established that he can be 2 places at the same time, because, or another way you think about it, you know how, so the appearance of Akafu can transform into the Wonder of You.
Mhm.
I wonder if Toru can do that as well. Turn his, because we had that sequence where, I believe it was in chapter 102, where Toru is like, Yasuo, if you press that button on the phone, like, I will, like, put you to the top of the priority list. And you have that scene where the Wonder of You, the stand version, is like physically towering over her. And I wonder if that's because Toru was there with it. But at that same time, the Wonder of You was also fighting Josuke.
You know what's funny? Toru has a picture of him and his stand together on his phone, and I find that
Yeah.
hilarious.
Because think about that timeline. So when Yasuo calls Kei Nijimura, she is like in the hospital and she's right there, and the head doctor is literally standing over Yasuo. But at the exact same time, without a doubt, the head doctor is also talking to Josuke. So if the stand can be 2 places at the why when it's not fighting one person, why doesn't it just like multiply itself again? Just have an infinite amount of itself, because like
This kind of reminds me of the
Well, we
Shadow
kind of
Clone
see
rules.
that in the little chapter art. We see like a bunch of Wonder Reviews flying
Yeah.
around.
that is
It
true.
literally has Shadow Clone rules from Naruto kind of thing, where they can relay information back to him. Like all the memories they get can go back
That's
to
just
the user.
that is just so broken, and I really think like before we even knew that it was broken. So like just imagine that, but applied to any stand. Just like D4C, but 2 of them. Like not 2 funny Valentines, 2 D4Cs. Star Platinum, but 2 of them. That can be 2 places at the same time, miles away from each other.
2 killer
It's
queens.
just it's beyond broke. 2 killer
Yeah.
queens, 2 sheer heart attacks. Like it's
It
that,
does kind
imagine-
of break.
that is
King
just so
Crimson.
crazy.
Unless, okay, here's like the true giving Araki the most benefit of the doubt. Unless he does have some weird plot reveal that we haven't seen yet that is going to perfectly explain his power. Here's okay.
Karma.
No, based on the timeline, because he used his ability on Yasuo when she was trying to use the phone, and it affected Joshu, and Joshu went after Yasuo. And without a doubt, the head doctor was also in the room with Josuke, so he can use his ability at the same time on different people. It's just crazy.
I'm wondering if
Like
maybe
based
the way
based on
that
the
they beat him.
timeline, I didn't interrupt you, but based on the timeline and during the effects, when Yasuo was about to call the phone or about to call Kyo Nijimura, and use the ability on Josuke was probably or Joshu, too many J names, was about the same time that Mamuzuku was dying. Like because Mamuzuku gets hit by all the soap bubbles, and then like right after that, I assume like Kei Nijimura shows up. So
Yeah, it didn't seem
broken
that
stand.
shortly after,
Broken-
that long
broken
after that
stand.
happened.
So I'm wondering if like the way that they beat him is to just have like have to force him to like use his brain to create like a bunch of them, and maybe he's gonna get like a big headache from having to make so many
a
different.
big headache.
Nose starts bleeding.
Yeah, that's how they beat him. They hit the big headache.
Uh,
God.
I really,
Big
I genuinely think that, and the only way I would be okay with it is that a stand that can create random misfortune is killed by random misfortune, which would be the plain
Well,
door.
we
Well,
might,
that's
yeah,
obviously
that's
gonna be.
kinda headed towards that
I
way.
just laughed the door. It's just forgotten about it and never seen again.
It's gonna
Um,
crush Carrera off screen. She's never gonna show up.
But unless you guys have anything else to mention about Wonder Review's ability or anything within those chapters when they were racing towards Josuke, I think we're ready to get back onto like the list of chapters and go
So
forward.
actually,
This
yeah,
has
there's
been a
few
big learning of
things.
Wonder Review, like 101 this year. So, other than just the word calamity was just the thing last year,
Mm-hmm.
or I guess
So
2 years
okay,
ago.
in '96, this is also when we get the I'm gonna put in air quotes the death of Jobin.
The 97,
yes,
you
yes,
mean?
yes.
No, this
97.
isn't. Oh, sorry,
97 was
Yeah.
possible death
it's
of Jobin.
97. Okay,
Yeah, it's-
sorry, I'm mixing them up. So he starts like attacking the Wonder View, who's like under a blanket, in '96, and then yeah, '97 he punches him, then he's gone, and then he like punches a hairspray
Hairspray.
bottle, and then yeah, we see Jobin die. I'm convinced that he's not dead. There's no way that Jobin's dead, guys. Araki is the king of death fake outs in Jojolion. There's been so fucking many death fake outs.
But like, it wasn't until he saw like Toru like in the woods that like he basically like started bleeding from the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
So like,
Okay, well, I raise you this. If Jobin's not dead, how does he come back?
So Mitsuba's gonna go to his pile of blood, and she's gonna put one of her leaves on
arrows
there.
back.
And it's gonna
That's
shoot-
not how that works.
Oh, she literally did it with her fucking unborn child.
And her fingers.
Oh yeah, that's true.
She literally
She's
attached her
gonna
fingers
she's
by
gonna
arrow.
suck all his blood up into the fucking hole in his artery or whatever. I don't know. I think that this is a perfect chance for a stand evolution too. If we get one of those fruits falls right into his hand, he takes a big bite. I don't know. We'll see.
Or like Jim said, his mom's in his chest pocket in a card, comes out like, oh, I have another heart in this card, so literally the heart of the cards, and then I'm gonna
with
like
with the new Jokakaka, it's important to like make note of like what is new about it, because I feel like a lot of people say like new Jokakaka, but what even is it? So like the old Jokakaka would take a part of you and,
Yes.
and change it to rock. So you bite a Jokakaka, for example, the baseball player lost his jaw, gained like his
you do the equivalent
his
exchange
throwing
with
arm.
yourself.
Yes. The new Jokakaka is able to exchange cells from someone else. So that's where you get the whole like fusion potential within it, and the way that it's equivalent exchange, but you personally don't exchange anything. You exchange it with someone else.
Yeah.
Like we
As
saw
we
with
saw.
Yasuo. So if and I really do feel like the new Jokakaka will always affect stands in some way. So I really think Paisley Park might get something new, because
And
the way
not-
we've seen it before, Killer
not punch.
Queen and Soft and Wet mixed to make Soft and Wet 2 that has Josuke's it's like his plunder ability, but it's really buffed up. Before, the plunder used to be not as strong, but now
But now it does whatever it wants.
it does really whatever it wants. So Soft and
Barely
Wet,
plunders anymore.
yeah, the first fusion, the
It
stand did
spins.
go through an evolution, and then Josuke used the new Jokakaka again, or technically low Kakaka, which is pretty much just liquid new Jokakaka. So Josuke is now doubled up on equivalent exchanges, and it appears to be that his stand has gone through another evolution.
You mean
after
the spin?
the spin, pretty much, yes.
Yeah.
So
Wait, was it the liquid? That was just the Rokakaka though, because the new Rokakaka is the.
oh yeah, Holly fed it to him. I'm tripping. Or wait,
Yeah. Yeah.
no,
how
he
did-
got fed an old Rokakaka.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The new
okay.
Rokakaka is the only.
That's why
we
his
only
eye
have
got-
like.
For some reason, I
like
thought he
3
drank
fruits.
low Kakaka, but yeah, he got fed a new Rokakaka.
No, he did. No, she poured the Lokaka liquid, which would be the old Rokakaka.
Yes, that's
Well,
why
it
that's
said,
why his eyes turned to rock.
and with the
Yeah.
fruit, there's one big one that was the one that Yashao eaten, and there's like one like a quarter of the way there, and there's one that's like hasn't started really like growing yet.
Okay.
And we still have to figure out how Joshua gets his arm back, and if Jobin's even alive or not.
Yeah, okay, so just
Also, just
jumping
the amount of like
forward.
Kill Bill blood just pouring out of this tube in his heart is like hilarious.
It is, I mean, it's a very dramatic
It's
scene.
one of the
like,
bloodiest scenes in this park. Any the grotesque like violence is
It is gory.
like they turn into rocks and they crumble, and that's like it.
Okay, but to continue on from all this Josuke head doctor made to me. So Josuke and the head doctor and Mamuzuku finally all meet up together, and what we think is what about to happen is going to be this standoff between them and a fight between what we might perceive as main villain and Josuke. But what we get is stalling by Araki with the worst part of 2020, which was de doo 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 de da da da, a rock animal. Or a rock,
Devin?
not even more insignificant than a rock animal, a rock insect.
Poor Devin.
yeah,
Wait.
as we call him Devin because it's like D7.
D7, Devin, yes. That I
Right.
hate that little bitch.
Wait,
Yeah,
so-
he's okay. I also
In
kind of-
retrospect, there was no reason other than maybe the way that Mamuzuku died.
I feel like I have to play devil's advocate for this stupid rock insect, but the one
It's
thing I did
Devin.
like about this kind of series is because this happens over what, like 2 chapters, I think we have.
It was 3.
Devin.
It got introduced. By the time being introduced, fighting, and killed, it's been 3 chapters.
So what I like about it is like we have this idea that so Josuke has set up a situation. Josuke has set a trap where basically he knows how to win is to not move. But then the head doctor sees that too. It's like, okay, well, I'm gonna also not move, but and then he pulls out his little like sushi wrap guy and then
Well, don't-
D7 attacks. So it's kind of like
in his intangible clothes and like objects that he has on him. That it's also an ability that Wonder Review can do.
true.
But it is a real cane. It is like an actual physical object he has on him. Like
I mean, yeah, I would agree that it is kind of stalling, and it's probably my least favorite bit, but
I guess we're on chapter 98, but as I said the 97 ended with Pangea Land. So I'm not sure if you want to talk about that at all.
honestly, there's not too much there. I mean,
it was just another example of Wonder Review, which I already feel like there was too many of. Like, we spent all 2019, 2020, it was just example after example of what the Wonder Review can do, and I'm at a point right now where, like, I get it, I know what it does, and I just want to see how we can fight against it instead of it just doing things with no retaliation whatsoever.
it
Just
was
made
really
everybody
just like
cry that
it was just
that
the
Buhai
same.
wasn't there.
It's exactly the same thing as what Ojiro was for Jobin, except like on a
Yeah.
much like less dramatic level. It's like we just literally need to have a character tell the head doctor or tell Toru whatever that Josuke's waiting for him. So we just needed a way for the head doctor to
Yeah.
want to pursue Josuke. That is literally all his character's for.
He really didn't need to kill him at all, but he did.
Yeah, honestly, that's just like the hilarious gore of JoJo. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, Rocky just gets to murder another guy in a horrible way. What a terrible way to die.
And I think
Shames
back to
me
that
out.
chapter, and you remember how the Wonder Review was standing in a corner, almost like it was a mannequin dummy that needed to be
Yeah.
like turned on.
Like
but,
Blair Witch Project style.
but if it can be in 2 places at the same time, it technically is just like a ghost form of a stand. So why was it even standing in the corner in the first place? But whatever.
I
Maybe
think
that's like the core. So like maybe there's like one core body because you know how, like
Which would be Akafu.
yeah. So that would seem to be like when the reason why they're able to fight him now is because that is like the core, like that is
So-
the original like host, if we want to use a
Yeah,
word.
this also wasn't confirmed, but I wonder if so. We saw it in chapter 101, the very short flashback with Yasuo. No, that was not it. 102 was the flashback with Yasuo when she first met Toru, and Yasuo, when she was like 9, 10 years old, was actually the one that introduced Toru to Akafu Satoru. And I
Yeah.
wonder how so we've seen the full version of Wonder Review. It has blade arms, just very robotic, mechanical looking stand. This was never confirmed in the page of its ability being explained, but can it just look at someone and steal their identity, or does the stand literally need to combine with the physical being that is Satoru Akafu? Because I always wonder, like, where is Akafu? Did he kill Akafu and then steal his identity, or did he actually steal Akafu's body?
So the one thing that, like, for me is kind of, I don't want to call it a plot hole because obviously that's like presumptuous to say at this point, but we know that the Wonder of You was with or was in Akafu's body at least 16 years ago, because that's when they say that they literally say 16 years because that's when
Yes, that was
Mamuzuku's dad gets
yeah.
killed.
I want to
So-
mention that though, but like that doesn't necessarily need to be Akafu, because we see a picture of Akafu, but what we know as the rock human head doctor looks much different from what Akafu looks like. So it could be that he like steals the body and he just defaults to that rock human looking almost old Wu Tomaki design, because Akafu had like a mustache and kind of like long hair, but the rock
Yeah.
human version looks much different from Akafu. So
But so, timeline-wise, is the Plant Appraiser's dad dying before the flashback where Yasha's
that would
in
have
Girl
that would have to be
Scouts?
before, because Mamuzuku is like 31, I think, or 32, something like that.
Yeah, because then that would just, I don't know, because that just brings into, like, is Yasuho the one that found him?
Those were written right after each other. Like that was chapter 101 was the Yasuo flashback, and the Mamuzuku flashback was 99. So like they were written so close to each other. I doubt Araki would just be negligent of that. So I have to assume that the head doctor just steals people's identities, like,
Yeah.
and can default back to that old man appearance.
I wonder if that would get explained a little bit more, because it just seems he's connected to everyone now.
We
Yeah.
have to be due for, like, one big, like, Toru flashback. So, like, my prediction, I
Yes,
mean, maybe it's a
that is
little
what I
presumptuous to say, but, like, I think Toru is going to, like, die, and then we might get, like, right before he dies, we might get, like, another big reveal.
Yes, I
Flashback.
genuinely think that Toru, what we know Toru as, is not going to be like the final person we're gonna fight. Because the
Yeah.
Wonder of You, at least to me, it is this final stand. Like it is the final enemy. It's very much not a minor fight, and
The final
you know,
third party enemy.
yeah, Araki, this is just how JoJo is. You have your minor fights, and then at the end you have either like a second to last fight or then the final fight. And I genuinely feel like Wonder of You, if it's not the final fight, I would just feel cheated in a sense, because we've spent so much time on it. And especially that Araki has gone back and intentionally connected him to all these characters past and made him feel like he's been here since the beginning. It is just extremely main villain like. I know you guys might not like using that word, but it's extremely final fight like. But the thing with Toru is that, like, who is this dude? Like,
Well,
what does Toru want? Like, I don't know. I could not answer that question.
Luckily, it's a good segue, because chapter 99 was like the huge
The origin
chapter.
of Toru.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like we got the origin and where he came from, but
Well-
like you could have replaced Toru. You could have just not drawn Toru and just drawn any other rock human, and it would have made no difference.
The
Like,
crazy thing is, like in this chapter, we see Hermes and Enya, like along with like a couple of celebrities, and even like horror movie characters and
Mhm.
stuff. It's like it was like crazy, and then you get the weird like now a lot of people that drew like about rock female in this as well,
Mhm.
or rock human mothers.
yeah, but
'Cause,
people say like like genuinely, I'm asking you guys, like, what does Toru want? Why is he our villain? Why does Josuke want to defeat him so
Money.
much?
He did
He
mention money.
literally-
He mentioned
Okay,
money
I raise
alone.
you this. He wants money. Clearly he wants money. Clearly he wants to sell the Jokakaka, because he goes through the trouble of taking the identities of old doctors and assimilating into human society and getting high up and getting connections with people and making this Jokakaka in order to sell it. So why the hell did he waste probably a decade of his life of going to Yasuo's school and pretending to be in high school and dating Yasuo? Why did he do that? Like, there has to be more than just money. Like, he has to have some sort of connection to either Kira, Josefume, Josuke, or Yasuo. Because, like, why would he even go out of his way to meet Yasuo and spend so much time with her and pretend to go to school? Like,
Yasha her stand is just super useful to him. He probably had some like minor, even though rock humans are put to have like they never think, oh, they don't get attached.
I
We
don't
still
know.
see
It
cases
just
of
it
other
can't be
rock
just
humans.
money, man. Like
And that's the problem.
like
Is
why
like,
the hell did he pretend to be Yasuo, or why did he date Yasuo and go to school?
Unless,
Like
Because like, well, they say they don't have relationships, and but we've seen like
this
from,
was like 3 years
the rock
ago though,
humans.
because Yasuo was in her first year of college, so this was literally like she dated Toru last year, and I assume she knew him for at least a while, or he went. She said he went to the school, so like, if this dude wanted money, why would he even get involved with Yasuo in the first place? It makes no sense. Unless
I said,
this was just
That's a good
completely-
point.
I still
I don't
think he has a minor like attachment to because like, the rock humans, even they say they don't get attached to, we've seen them like do that no matter like the one that's
Yeah.
the security guard guy. He had a girlfriend. He like liked her a lot, and but she fucked him over.
Yeah,
But
like no villain's motivation has ever been like money, like before either. Like maybe, but it's always like more than that, and it's always very personal. And making money, being successful, doesn't seem like a very personal ambition. So
totally.
I
Toru wants
I
to
just
be the queen
really
bee.
am really curious on what Toru is, and like again, like he has some sort of connection or some sort of vendetta against these characters because like he was messing with Mamuzuku. He killed Mamuzuku's dad for some reason, and he probably was responsible of the hair clip that got attached to Yasuo. So
Yeah.
I wonder if he had any impact on Kira or Josefume's life, because like, why is he fucking with these characters for
Well,
pretty much their entire life?
obviously
Even
he
like
did because he's attached to the rock human group.
Does he want
the,
money? This
Demo
seems like
group.
such a waste of time if he wants money to be messing with these people. Like,
Like I said, he's attached to the Demo group in a way. So I mean, there's this attachment there.
And like, so I know it's kind of like a bit of not a trope, but it's an analysis that people have had about like how stories tend to be with antagonists and protagonists. Where like the antagonists are like the antagonists are the ones that like set things in motion, and the protagonists are the ones that react to it. In here, the situation we have now, it's kind of the opposite, with at least in terms with the new Rokaka, because right now, all Toru knows is that he wants that new Rokakaka, but he wasn't responsible for making it. He seems to like be surprised that it's even a thing. Like
yeah,
its whole creation is kind of like a weird like miracle, and so if this hadn't happened, he would just be, I guess, continuing to profit off the trade. It's just like odd. It's very weird because we know
and also the design we know Toru as. We know that rock humans can age, and we've never seen like a young rock human before. Like maybe Otsuyu was maybe the youngest looking one, but like the Aphex twins, Ozone Baby, they all look like grown ass men.
Yeah.
And
Once he come out of the
Toru
hive,
has to be older than everyone else if he's like the one in control or he has the power, because like rock humans are pretty primitive in the way that they think and operate, so they might have just like a seniority or way that they rank, or Toru would have to have some sort of education and be able to control these people, so you'd think he'd have some power over them, which usually comes with age. So like I don't think the Toru that we see is what he actually looks like either. And also just doesn't make sense for JoJo. Like JoJo antagonists, they're usually older, they're evil looking, pretty buff, pretty masculine, and threatening to some extent. So Toru does not fit the stereotype of JoJo main villain either. So
yeah, that's why I mean like to
Unless-
me,
unless maybe
he's
we're
kind of like a
considering
pseudo main
the-
villain.
yeah, unless we're considering like
Yeah.
Akafu, one of his designs as well. But the character Toru just doesn't make sense to me. The more I think about it, the more confusing it is. Like I just don't get that guy, which
I
I'm
really-
sure will be explained later on. But for now, it's just
Yeah.
it's very weird.
Yeah, like I really loved Toru when he was first introduced because like it's very rare in JoJo to just get these like super late cast additions that are like
Yeah, I thought he
very
was just going to be like I thought he was being manipulated by Akafu, or he was like his assistant that was being taken advantage of and going to be used against them. Because it's like, oh, this is the guy Yasuo went to high school with, but then it's like, no, this is the guy, and it was total bait and switch.
I was like, it's so obvious that he'd be evil that maybe the twist is that he's not evil or something like that.
I just thought the twist was that he was a stand user and he was being controlled by the head doctor, or the head doctor's ability was to control people. But then that's just
Well,
like
you're
a
half
total
right.
opposite. Yeah.
You're kind of right.
Another thing too is we see Toru emerge with like two other rock people. So when he emerges the hive,
There's like they're like women, like
yeah, they don't look like characters that we've seen. And there's also kind of the speculation that Toru has been around for a very long time. because like the clothing that the woman is wearing when she deposits him looks to be kind of old fashioned. But when you actually look at
He's
like the
wearing like a
city,
burlap sack.
the city in the background does kind of look more modern.
Mhm.
So I think that he's probably from like the early.
Because like if you
I don't know how
wow.
much of that chapter I want to take as like, canon and exactly what is though, because like I said earlier, like you could just replace Toru with any rock human or any person, it would make no difference. And also that we see a bunch of weird things in that chapter, like references to the original universe and Lucy Steele. So I mean, I wouldn't consider that having that much validity. Like, well, if you look in the background, you can see like a skyscraper, so it has to be pretty modern. But like, I don't think Araki was being very intentional when he was drawing
And plus,
that.
if he's
But who
around for
knows?
a very long time, I'd be like, why is he choosing like when Yasha was a kid to make a move to like move up in like the medical world or something that you're like find the right body? Like it doesn't make sense that he would just choose like decades or centuries or depending on how long you think he was like alive for to go and strike.
So weird. It's one of those things where we could ask 100 questions and could have 100 different answers. So it's just
Yeah,
one
I
of those
think
things we're gonna have to wait and see what Araki's got
We had
planned.
20, 30 chapters of Toru stuff, so like
I do have to say, you mentioned it a second ago, but like, seeing Holly, such a great fucking moment. Like,
Yes.
totally did not expect to see Holly, or like, we also see the new version of the Speedwagon
yeah,
Foundation, which is like,
seeing Lucy is like
oh wait, did I say Holly? I meant to say Lucy.
yeah, leading
Yeah.
Lucy to
God,
the Speedwagon Foundation like
I'm an
briefcase.
idiot.
I was like so. I think when you go back to the episode we did, I was so excited to see that. And then it's just crazy where you see Part 7 stuff, and then you go down and you see like the stone mask and the stand arrow with Enya. And then like
I just realized that
it's crazy.
Josuke's transformation was 2019. Are you kidding me? That's wow. Wow.
Damn.
Like I'm looking at my notes, I'm like, when are we gonna talk about the whole Holly thing? When Holly, I'm like, oh no, that was 2 years ago. It's like okay.
My favorite thing is just like they have a shot of like all the hospital employee rock humans, and it just like poor Tom's picture is just his face exploding, and I'm just like I find that hilarious.
Exactly. Sometimes you you can't really take in what Araki draws as absolute canon because he
Rocky's
just
like,
draws
"Fuck."
weird things sometimes.
Even Rocky says "fuck poor Tom."
Yeah.
But yeah, then we had like this whole funeral flashback and all that. We talked about that, like,
Yeah.
already.
Again, I could ask a million questions about that. Why did he kill Mamazuku's dad? Why does he even care about Mamazuku? Why is he involved in the Higashikata family? But
I mean, he's obsessed with
who
the
knows?
fruit. He's fruit.
Fruit.
something
Loves the
fruit.
fruit.
You gotta fuck with all the fruit families, apparently.
So okay, then moving forward from that, like,
Yeah,
and we already
let-
kind of talked about.
How
like,
about we
the
just move
D7
on
stuff.
to where the end of the da-da-da-da-da fight is? So then that brings us into Mamazuku's death, which was pretty much just a calamity that hit Mamazuku. Nothing too crazy about
But
that.
he did get the cool ass like 2 centimeters from his head.
He did.
like-
He got
and-
relatively
That's a really good
close.
moment.
And I do love him being so caught off guard. Like, this never happened.
Yeah.
Weird.
I do have the one thing I do really appreciate about this chapter is how like quickly he just kills D7 because I mean I was very much eager for that thing to just go away. So he just kills it by poking it really hard and then he threatens to poke the head doctor. Really fun use of doggy style too. I like it. I like that.
Slithering on the ceiling.
He's basically Spider-Man.
But
Um,
yeah, that
but-
basically and then Devin.
it honestly feels like kind of flat
Oh.
though. Like I wish I could talk more about Mamazuku's death and everything, but he got close to the head doctor and he encountered a calamity, like cut and dry. Like that's how
What?
Mamazuku died. Just
Don't forget the big thing though with the spin reveal.
with the spin reveal. But I don't want to talk too much about that because I feel like in the next like 4 chapters we're on the cusp of the reveal of what the hell that actually is. Because
The spin.
since chapter 100, they have mentioned there's things you cannot see. There's something special within them for pretty much every chapter. So I don't want to speculate too much on what that could be. All I want to say is that a new ability in some way. But I feel like we're really close to seeing what that is. So I don't
You're
think
a
it's
spin user, Gappy.
So
I
there's
don't-
one
I don't think it's too
um,
much reason to speculate.
There's one thing that I do kind of want to highlight about this because it's something that I didn't even notice the first time and I didn't see anyone talk about it, and Josuke even like mentions it. This is near the very end. I think it's actually like, is it 102? It's the part where he gives his like speech. Mamazuku gives his little speech to Josuke, and he rips his shirt open, and we see there's a big hole inside of him.
Mm-hmm.
Why was there a hole inside of him but not through his shirt?
Because he was replaced with a Mamazuku from a different time or some crazy shit. Who knows? Add more to the wonder of you.
Something
Because like that's the
spin.
one. And so basically, like I know you said you don't want to speculate, but I'm gonna speculate for one
Alright, let's do
second.
it.
My whole idea, or what I think is going to happen with this whole spin thing, is because it seems like, and Josuke makes a line referencing it. I don't know if I wrote it down. So the bubble passes. It seems like the bubble passes through Rai's suit and then hurts his body, his torso. But then it passes through it again because he has to like rip his shirt open to show it. So I'm wondering if maybe the like climax of this fight is going to be Josuke learning how to like let the bubble phase through him so that it can go through a head doctor.
Mm-hmm.
That's just
Yeah,
whatever. That's the one thought I had.
I remember making a big deal of that when it first happened. I was thinking of like what the Wonder of View's ability actually was, and one of it was like, so it kind of is similar because Araki likes to like have themes with the villains, as we saw Time in the original one. So everyone was like, I wonder if the Part 8 main villain's gonna be similar to D4C. And what I was thinking is that like, so how the calamities work is that there's an infinite number of universes, and the Wonder of You can select one of the universes where something bad happens and replace it with it. So I was wondering if like when that bubble passes and he's attacking him, what if you're like replaced Mamuzuku with Mamuzuku from another timeline that did get hit by the bubble, but just Mamuzuku, not the clothes or something. But it doesn't. It's just a weird theory that's not really relevant.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah.
So where are we now? We're kind of like
that brings us to the one of the
his
shortest
redemption arc.
chapters this year, one of the weakest chapters as well, which was 101. Where pretty much all that happened is that we saw Yasuo use the new fruit, exchange with Josuke, and then pretty much everything Yasuo has gone through this entire year is completely redacted in one scene where it's like, oh, never mind, she's totally fine, which always happens to Yasuo. She gets hurt, but there's no consequences to it, and no meaning of her being hurt whatsoever. So, again, more lame bits of Yasuo just getting shit on for no reason if she's just going to get healed.
The start of the Aunt Joshu redemption arc being ruined.
yeah, right.
Don't forget that.
I mean, he did get to give up his arm to save Yasuo, and when he was being a dickhead, it was not by his own choice. It was because he was under control of Wonder of You.
Do we know that though? I kind of don't. I kind of don't like buy that theory. I think that
I think it's fair because like if you think about it, where Yasuo was, she was like in the middle of the driveway, and Toru was looking at her, and he said like, if you do something, you're going to encounter a calamity, and she chooses to bite the fruit and in a way pursue the head doctor because she's doing that to get better to fight him, and like. What other calamity could there be other than something falling out of the sky and hitting her, or her hitting herself? Like the only thing around her was Joshu, so the only possible way she could encounter a calamity was if Joshu tried to attack her. And even on Joshu's face in that chapter, it looked like he looked like a blue Hawaii zombie that was like being controlled.
Well,
so
yes, I tried to get like on top of her in a weird way, but Toru
like he
also,
offered too. He was like, let's do an equivalent exchange, and then when they actually do it, then he's like trying to attack her. So.
He immediately regrets it though. Like immediately
exactly.
regrets
So
doing
like
it.
he was being affected by calamity, and then the calamity stops, and he's like kind of like snaps out of it. That's just the way I interpreted it.
You mentioned about like why Yasuo was Toru, and then just the part where like Joshu gets on top of her and he snaps a twig like to like stop him. So like there's obviously something there with her, with him and her, like still that we still don't know 100%. Like we said, especially the next chapter when we get the flashback at her at summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But yeah, I don't really have anything else to say
We're
about.
just gonna get to that chapter, I guess.
I do really like Yasuo just like taking the big bite of the fruit. I think that's a really cool. Having you say all this about her kind of like suffering for no reason, it's really kind of like opening my third eye, and I'm kind of seeing like I'm starting to like not feel as good about these things now that you've pointed it out.
Yeah, I mean, I've like when you read Jojolion for so long, you're a lot more cynical of it than a lot of the other things because you can like, I mean, it's just it's not like a lazy way of writing, but it is a way of writing that Yasuo is just really not being. She's being delegated to express things for other characters that I think her character is just being totally underused and just literally a punching bag is the best way I can describe it, which is not fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess it's I mean, since we're only talking about 2020 and we can't see the future, it remains to be seen like what will happen with her. But yeah, so far, you've kind of like won me over. You've changed my mind a bit. Like,
I mean,
yeah, this kind of sucks.
yeah, it wouldn't be a big deal if it was just this year, but like this has been Yasuo's character the entire part, which is
Yeah.
like, is there
With,
any
Jobin.
redemption? When Jobin hit her, and it's like, is Yasuo like the fake out deaths with Yasuo? I mean, I might need two hands to count them, honestly.
I mean,
Like,
she suffered physically and emotionally throughout Jojolion.
Yeah,
it's
my
just-
girl's
I
gonna
just-
need therapy.
I know, like I just want
So-
something good for her.
So yeah, in the summer camp, we learned though she had like Paisley Park this entire time, basically since a childhood, and
Which is like, so this to me, like, completely, like, just don't think about the bite marks anymore. Like, just remove the bite marks from your brain because
I
they
did-
have nothing to do with giving stands.
I talked to Jim about this, where like the bite marks is just kind of like in part 6, where Jolene like just touched the like stand area and it kind of just jolted her stand.
Yeah,
to,
I
like,
think bite marks are
fully
like a
develop.
leftover asset kind of from Steel Ball Run, where it's like, you know, because what the walleyes are a devil's palm, like that was established, and characters would get marks on them from the devil's palm. So even if they didn't get a stand from the bite marks, like I guess just people who hang out around the devil's palm were just marked in some way.
This chapter also had
Yeah,
one of my
I mean,
favorite
that's a
things.
whole- That's a
Go
can
ahead.
of worms.
Yeah.
The whole fucking
True.
how people get stands. But well, yeah, let's not focus on that. What were you gonna say,
This
Sam?
is a very minor thing, but this also chapter also has the warning bee sign, which is one of my favorite fucking things in this. It's just
Warning
so
bears,
stupid.
warning bees. Told you guys, we're nearing the
Warning
end.
one singular bee.
I really love this like little flashback chapter. I didn't say how much I loved the like stone, the Toru origin chapter, I guess we can call it.
I love Hooded Toru so much.
Yeah, it's really cool to see Toru as like there's clearly something else going on.
Well,
Like
there's
he's
the-
been like in her life for so long.
There's the one shot of him like handing her like the fire
Clearly.
rocks, and his face kind of looks like Wonder of You because it's like all darkened out with like the white eyes kind of thing, and it looks
Mhm.
really freaking cool. Like, it's like I love this. Like, anytime flashbacks happen to Jojolion, I always get excited. So
They're always awesome.
It's usually always when a character is about to die, because Mamuzuku got his flashback, the next chapter, died. Yasuo got her flashback, although she's had quite a bit of flashbacks in the part, and now, another bad thing will happen to Yasuo very soon, because she just directly pursued the head doctor right after Toru said, like, if you pursue me, you'll die. So, and she doesn't have anyone to protect her. Like, she's by herself. Except Joshu, but he might be recovering from that exchange.
Yeah,
I'm
I
still
think he's out
praying
of
though
commission.
she'll like you said, a stand evolution that she'll get like the nut punch. Still, man, I'm still praying for that.
Paisley Nut.
I'm gonna steal the arm from him.
Nut Cane Park.
Not King Part.
Take my money, Araki. So yeah, and then
Um,
as we get the probably one also moment of the year of K
This
being
was
called.
like the big pop off moment that I think everyone shared.
Yeah.
In the
Everybody-
moment when I was reading it, so Kei Nijimura coming back into the story, when I first read it, it was super hype, but like now when I think about it, like at first when I made that my latest Jojolion review or the last one, I was like best chapter of Jojolion, but after like calming down and seeing it for what it is, like it's cool that she's back, but
Did you put out an
definitely
apology video?
nowhere near like the best part of the year, you know. But it is cool that she's back.
To me, like what it represents is just like so exciting. It's like it really feels like the kind of theme of like Josuke's family culminating, like because we had this big moment last year where Josuke and Holly have this real connection and she sees him as her son, and now he's got like this real connection, this actual tangible connection to the world, because he really hadn't had any before.
Yeah.
And now having Kay back, it's like, yes, like this is your sibling, like you have a family, like
And she learns like she's like oh, Holly acknowledges you as her son, so I acknowledge you as my brother, kind of thing.
yeah, Josuke, you are loved.
You have family. It's about family, guys.
Also, I do love, it's so badass the way that Yasuo just like holds up the phone and she's like, I'll do it, I'm gonna call her.
If you don't,
So he
if
said,
you
"Don't do
that, Calamity's
it.
coming."
Don't you do it."
But yeah,
Um,
so as you're saying with like Wonder Review though, like Toru's in the woods, but like that's when Wonder Review appears like on the branch, like just straight up as a stand talking to her. So it seems like this
Yeah.
like the same thing as him talking to them in the office.
And it was said in the page that the Wonder of You shares the appearance with Akafu Satoru, so now there's two Akafu Satorus.
Sure.
Aka too.
Akatu.
Akatu's.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Yeah, and then basically that's where we're at now. You let both of our chapter
Yep.
reviews on that.
I
Um,
genuinely think Araki has gone a little overboard with Wonder of You to the point where the like I feel like he purposely made the ability really vague, but like it's become a do anything stand, which again I don't really like those,
Hmm.
but it's like it is the strongest stand in JoJo. Like that's like period.
Yeah.
Yeah, if
It's
it
ridiculous.
was more of a karma thing, like as it was mentioned, I think that would be better. But it clearly, like, he just has like total control over it.
Yeah. I mean, the karma thing would be really cool because it would be like a limitation. So if your character, if your enemy's a good person, it's going to be a lot harder to hit them with calamities. But like that's
But
not really
I was
relevant
like,
anymore.
who judges the karma? Is it just like karma in general? Does the user have to judge the karma? Like,
Mamuzuku had said it. He was like, it has something to do with what you put out in the world. Like whatever you put out in the world is what you get back.
Hmm.
oh, also the other thing I just noticed just in year in general is just how like we're all hyped. Like, okay, Gabby has his entire plan set out. It's gonna go like so smoothly, and like he gets so messed up, like, up in this as well. Like none of his plans ever go right for the most part. He just takes way more body damage. Like his neck is completely like screwed up. He like
Yeah.
lost his eyes like multiple times in different ways. Like,
Yeah, if I had to say, like, one of the things that I'm kind of a little critical of is like this I feel like almost every JoJo chapter kind of has the same, or every arc has the same kind of flow, where it's like once the good guys get the upper hand, oh, then the bad guy has a thing, and it just has happened a little bit too many times. And
maybe
Is a
he's only
long
doing
part.
this. Maybe he's doing this because he had the fruit, and then he only had like 2 fruits left, and like where are they gonna go, like that kind of thing.
But I mean, where we left off on the last chapter of the year, 103. Exciting stuff though. We did get a hit on the Head Doctor, and we're gonna see some interesting effects of everything that happened because the thing with Josuke's soap bubbles and the spin and everything is that like once you get hit by it is when you realize what they are. When Mamuzuku got hit by the soap bubbles, he said like Josuke, there's something within the soap bubbles you cannot see. In chapter 103, when the Head Doctor got hit by the soap bubbles, he said, wow, these soap bubbles, there's something within these that you cannot see. And in that same chapter, Josuke had got hit by his own soap bubbles. So hopefully he will realize what he has in the next chapter, which we should
I mean,
be
the last
in
line
about
of
a
the
week.
chapter is soft and wet has something further. So
Yeah, so
I'm dying to know.
so the year ended off on a really hype moment and
Yes.
something I'm really excited to see in this month.
I guess what am I was like, oh, I guess we're doing wait for underrated for that. So
Yeah, but I think that's a good time. So that kind of covers the good, the bad, all the chapters about this year and everything that's been going
the
on.
good, bad, and the ugly.
Yeah. If we missed anything, go back and watch our reviews.
Definitely.
If there's something that we missed that was your favorite moment. But I think this is a good time to get on to our nominees.
Yeah, I'm sorry
For-
we didn't
for our
spend an hour talking about
categories.
Toru dancing.
True.
But yeah, overall, I would like to say just like overall, like I thought this year was pretty cool. There were some down bits, but like seeing, just being able to read everything just straight through, just contextualizes like all of like these awesome moments and like all like especially for me like 95 just had so many fucking great things
Are
culminating.
we starting for best chapter?
Yeah, let's okay. Play the award music. Dun, 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 dun.
Sure.
Best
Nice.
chapter of Jojolion 2020.
Thought you were gonna go for a chill
Are we gonna
voice
be
there.
unanimous? I guess I'll go first. 95.
95.
I really like 99. Like I love that one a lot. So that'd be the weird one.
Oh, that was the bizarre flashback.
Yes,
with the
I
Rocking
just
Floor.
loved everything about that. Just like the weird callbacks and all that stuff.
That was so yeah. When I
Spin
first read it,
reveal.
I think
Like-
if I hadn't have reread these chapters, I probably would have picked 99 just because, like, to me, that was such, like, a great, like, classic crazy Iraqi moment of, like, oh, we just get, like, all this, like, biology lore.
And Devin died.
Yeah,
Actually,
and
I'd change
Devin
it. Yeah, 99. I go 99.
It's just the whole flashback. I just love. It's so crazy, like that I cannot love it. I love weird shit happens in like manga and anime, so like it was just perfectly like, right up my alley. Just seeing like a baby ride a bee, and then the baby becomes part of the bee. While I also having like Enya flashback with Dio wearing the stone mask, and I just loved it all.
I just, yeah, for me, like, 95 it really just got me so connected to Jobin as a character, and like I'm just so impressed by the writing, and really I think being able to like empathize and like feel sympathy for an actual asshole. Like this guy's a fucking literal murderer. Uh, just really loved it. Thought it was
Yeah, don't
good.
get me wrong, that's probably like my second one. It's very close second. So
Um,
Yeah,
all
same.
right, do we want
95,
to?
great chapter.
Which
Best
one?
one.
Sorry.
I was just saying, yeah, I agree. 95, best chapter of the year.
Hell
Because
yeah.
Jobin.
I
Uh,
agree with
all
you
right. Do we
guys.
want to do the next? Should we do worst chapter next, or should we save
I
that for
haven't listed.
last?
I haven't listed out here the way that I listed them at the beginning. So best chapter and now MVP.
All right.
Oh
Someone
man,
else go first.
For me, MVP of this year was Wonder of You. Not a character, but a stand. I don't care about Toru, but just
it's kind of a character.
seeing Wonder of You and the different ways he was drawn, and obviously he had the most impact on the story and was the focal point. I enjoyed Wonder of You. That
He
was
does have
my
his own
favorite part.
physical appearance, so I can count that.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm trying to think. I think I agree with that because it. Wonder if you probably had the most like added. Like, if Joshu wasn't not Joshu, Jobin wasn't out of the commission for the other half of this, I probably would have said Jobin. But I have to agree that Wonder Review is probably the best character from this.
Yep.
So
Right.
I initially had Yasuo picked from the
No
beginning, but after
way.
this discussion, because I just really like, I don't know, I was really like there with Yasuo this whole
Because
time.
your
I
mind
felt
was
like her
probably fresh with
suffering.
like the recent chapters of her getting like back in the not suffering.
Yeah, so it's hard. Honestly, it's hard to not just agree with you guys.
I would say Wonder
Um,
of You or Josuke. I like Josuke. Although he kind of sat still for like 7 months, but
Well, he also like his plan also got him completely like messed up physically, so I can't give him that.
fuck.
yeah.
Okay, I guess it depends on how we want to define MVP, but I don't want to spend too long on this, so I'm just gonna stick with Yasuo because like
Cool.
I think like it's a
Jim lived
nice
and died
awesome
by the
moment with her
waifu.
at the end. She's punished now. She's suffered even more.
He's an eye patch to be punished.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got two Wonder reviews from me and Sam, and Jim goes Yasuo. Okay, so best plot revelation, and mine has to be the rock human lore. Just this that chapter and learning more about the rock humans and the way that their early life is, spending
Yeah.
time with the bees and then being dropped off, and how they assimilate into society. I thought like that was the best part of the year that wasn't just actual fights or anything like that. Like that was just, and especially the reference to the original universe and seeing
Yeah.
Lucy and everything. That was just probably the best moment. That was great.
It's obviously mine as well. If you couldn't
Yeah.
tell, my favorite chapter, and even like the rock theme, like mothers. I guess that's another thing that you don't think about, like the difference between. We only really seen rock males, so it's just
Mhm.
another like thing maybe that's probably gonna come up in the future.
So I'm super torn. I'm gonna actually go with a different one, but
Hmm.
if it wouldn't be for this one, it'd be that one. But for me,
Yeah.
like the moment that King Nothing recreates Ojiro, I think like just that
Good pick.
moment. There's so much that is like hinging on that moment, and like the fallout from that moment is so extreme
My,
that I
my
just love it.
my runner up is like is probably like that moment or like just the whole Jobin like having to do what he has to do kind of thing. Like how it's basically how that body bag got revealed or how it might have happened. I can't say anything for sure,
Hmm.
but yeah, good pick.
Yep. So that was plot revelation. So that was just kind of things that weren't a fight or like a main moment or just something that was out of the ordinary, I guess, or had a lot of momentum riding on it. Okay, so the next one is best moments. Kind of similar, but more in context of characters actually fighting and character interaction. So mine is going to be in chapter 95. Jobin betrays the family. Essentially, the moment that Jim just chose.
Yeah, mine's probably the same thing or just like the moment like Job the actual moment with Jobin using Speed King on him is probably one of my favorites. Him like holding his father's body is like one of my favorites.
So I'm trying to narrow it down to one, but like I think I'm gonna go with the moment that we see Kei Nijimura's name on the phone.
That's a
For
good one,
me,
too.
like that
Okay.
was just such a huge fucking like I don't really like react too often when I read things. Like But I was like, whoa.
I want to give a special runner up when the first time Born This Way came out because I didn't expect it to be that quick compared to like other stuff that have been happening through like the past 2 years, where like we usually had to wait a couple of chapters for that to happen. Where like, oh no, Born This Way is here. She is here very quickly.
Yeah,
The day
that was my second one.
the day that chapter came out, I just like woke up, checked Twitter, and I saw that panel of Born This Way going after the head doctor, and I didn't even consider it. I literally thought it was photoshopped. Like I didn't even like get excited or anything. I just like laughed. I was like, huh, that's funny. And then I was like, oh, chapter's out. Let me read it. And then I read it, and I was like, because like when you look at that, it looks so photoshopped because it's like the exact same way Born This Way was drawn, like from way earlier and like the same angle and perspective.
How many times you have to draw it coming out of something in like that kind of view? Like
Yeah.
you could obviously happen before.
So yeah, those are good picks for best moment. 2 from 95. Me
That's
and
funny.
Sam, and then Jim was okay. That would be my second one as well. So under that we have underrated moment. So a moment that not many people would think of, like the obvious ones that we just chose, but just another good part from the year that needs more appreciation. And for me, it was actually from my least favorite chapter of the year, which was the introduction of da because it was about like 8 pages of no dialogue but just movement. And it was the race to Josuke, where Mamuzuku and the head doctor, Mamuzuku had gotten out of prison, and him and the head doctor were walking side by side, racing towards Josuke. And during that moment, like manga-wise, kind of shrug over it, especially when you're reading monthly with the pages that don't have dialogue. You kind of just skim them, and you're like, not skim them, but you don't really spend that much time to like really look at every single thing Araki drew, and you're just kind of like advancing, reading at a normal pace. But I really feel like this moment animated with like a really high tension soundtrack, like a do, like them walking, and especially that effect where Wonder of You has the love train lines and everything. Like I feel like that moment is gonna have a lot of build up if it was ever animated, and it was just like it was different. There wasn't any dialogue. It was just 2 characters racing towards a location that we know where Josuke is, and that was another moment everyone was waiting for, the head doctor to finally get to Josuke. So Mamuzuku and the head doctor's little race was my underrated moment.
Their little race.
Little race they had.
Go ahead, Jim.
I similarly, I really loved the scene after Jobin punched the hairspray bottle, and there's actually wait no, sorry, right before that, basically the moment preceding that scene, because they have this weird scene where Mitsuba and Jobin are just kind of hanging around, and Mitsuba starts noticing the head doctor move through objects, and it's just honestly like as you said, like it's not that there's like a big plot revelation. It is just like the paneling and the way that this sequence is shown is like super memorable to me, and I just love it. It's so scary and just a great moment. I think about it. I think how creepy it would be to see little tiny Wonder of You walk out of a picture frame and then like into a fucking mirror or whatever.
Yeah, it's been a while since Rocky did that. I remember part 3 with Polnareff's introduction where he comes out of like the bowl, like the bowl of water. He just comes out of it.
With
Silver
the
Chariot.
Silver Chariot.
Yeah, Silver Chariot just comes out like a bowl of water or something.
Yeah, it's great.
This is a stupider thing, but it was underrated. Is Toru's dancing. It's like it's so weird.
Oh, I forgot
But,
about
like,
yeah.
But it's like
He's listening
it's so
to his
goofy.
iPod.
Yeah, you get this character who you've only really seen like one kind of like facial reaction to everything, but like just to see him like turn on Elvis or Crazy Train by Black Sabbath and to start dancing and stuff. It's like it was interesting thing just to see like this character just shift to that. But at this point, Toru's just been the serious lover boy, like nurse that like it just like goofy and like it reminded me of like the torture dance kind of thing where he's like you kind of need that kind of goofiness to come from these characters doing a horrible thing.
Forgot about that. The fact that he literally was listening to his Stan's name.
Yeah, how cocky can you be?
I think that's a first in JoJo, right? Like we've never had a character explicitly like referencing a song that isn't just like the name of their stand.
There's been a few times, and
Okay,
not explicitly reference their stand, but like a lot of times when you fight a minor villain, it's like, oh, this is my stand, Chocolate Disco or something. But like the only other character that comes to mind is Kira when he says like, I call it Killer Queen. So like we know that he named his stand.
Okay, so this is not like this is a musical reference that's actually like, made like actual. It's when Jotaro is trying to like see if it's the real Joseph. We revive them in the ambulance, and he asks him like a question, and the answer is Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
So like Weird Al exists in the JoJo world.
Thank God.
Thank God. Which like that's the only thing I can really think of an actual like the musician coming in there like that. I guess in chapter 99 they had a picture of like Aretha Franklin I think in it. But like
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, but that was also like that was more
yeah.
for like the viewer because that had like all the the
Yeah.
part 6 and part 3 references and
Yeah, but I'd say only the time thing like musicians have been actually like name dropped like it's a Crazy Train, Weird Al Yankovic, and Wonder Review by Elvis Presley have been confirmed exist in these universes.
great. All right, and then moving on to our very last one.
Yes.
Which is worst chapter, and I guess along with that worst moment. And mine was honestly just all of the do. Call me an impatient speed reader, but I just really feel like he had no purpose. He had purpose, but I hate to say that, but yeah, I really was just feeling really impatient, waiting so long for them to get to each other. And the rocked insect really just halted the momentum and was really just a lull for me. I know some people like it, I guess, but I was not a fan.
Yeah, I got kind of like going off that, like specifically chapter 98 is like where we have his introduction, and it is just kind of like a tension setting chapter. Like there's not any like real big moment of it that's like super exciting. It's just kind of like characters getting into their fighting locations and then
Yeah, it's like that
introducing.
moment in Steel Ball Run where Johnny and Valentine get eye to eye on the train, but then imagine Valentine is being followed by a minor villain, and then Johnny has to fight a minor villain for 2 chapters, and then we can continue the D4C fight. Like
Yeah,
it
just like a chocolate disco too.
I know it's like, and Chocolate Disco made sense because it's like, well, Gyro was being stalled when he was when
Yeah.
Johnny was out fighting, so it's just like we're in like part 11 of the Wonder of You, and in order and there to be like just the minor of minor villain fights where it's just like it. I guess the way you could think about it is that like it's not even a rock insect; it's just one of the Wonder of You's abilities. But I mean, I wish it took up 8 panels instead of 3 months.
It's like
Yeah,
you actually get to the final boss, and the final boss summons like a mini boss to fight while he's just sitting there watching.
It's like when you get to the Dio's mansion, like, oh, we're finally at the mansion. Oh, we gotta fight the butlers now. We gotta fight. Like,
We gotta fight
out-
Led Zeppelin.
We gotta fight everyone.
We gotta play a video game.
We gotta play video games. We gotta fight the butlers. We gotta fight the maids.
But yeah, Sam, did you have one in particular or like a moment?
Probably the worst moment. This is not chapter related, but it's the people staying on the Joshu, like loving Joshu
Oh,
train.
the fandom.
The fandom that still defends Joshu. Fuck that.
Well, if I can't choose worst moment fandom every time, then what's the point of even choosing worst moment?
Well, I agree with you that I love the name Devin, but yeah, Devin was like not interesting, that too interesting, other than just to get a reason for them to move out of the way and then kill shortly after they moved out of the way.
And it's also like I understand why it exists. Like it's tying into Mamuzuku's backstory, but like yeah, I mean, if we really wanted to, it could be left on the cutting room floor.
So
right?
do every one of these multiple Wonder Reviews have a Devin on them?
Maybe.
Oh
Just
my
just
God.
imagine it this way: like the Wonder Review and Mamuzuku show up, and then they're like, "Oh," and Wonder Review's like, "Whoa, this place is full of traps," and then Mamuzuku goes and attacks the head doctor. Like, like it could have just been that instead.
This dude's like, oh, I see you have a trap card. This activates my trap card.
Yep.
The heart of the cards.
They're playing Yu-Gi-Oh in here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to read my frickin' JoJo. All right. So then that concludes the Jojolion 2020 awards ceremony. No
Yes.
one was invited.
Yeah.
No one ever will be invited.
That
But yeah, so dear viewer out there, how did you score? Even though this isn't score, I just want to see your opinions. So post
Yeah.
away if you haven't already.
I would
Yes.
say 2020 worse than 20, like not the year, but like the things that happened in Jojolion. Not as good as 2019, and probably not as good as 2021 is going to be. So 2020 was a bit of an interesting year for Jojolion, and it's kind of leading up to whatever is going to be happening in this year. So
one more topic. What big thing do you think will be revealed in 2021? Like one big
Toru's
thing.
true identity, motivation, and Josuke's new ability and what's in his soap bubbles.
Yes.
That's what's gonna happen. But like, if you think about 2020, like there was just a lot of build up this year. We had like 2 flashback arcs, or 3 essentially. We had Toru's flashback, Yasuo flashback, Mamuzuku flashback. So just a lot of build up and the conflict between Norisuke and Jobin. So a lot of building up. And as well, we forgot to mention the best character, which should have been the MVP, was the Plain Door. He was
Oh, yeah.
the Plain Door was introduced this year, so again, just more things that will be resolved at a later date. So
Plain Door Chan.
a lot of build up this year.
Yeah, for me, the big reveal I'm predicting is Jobin still being alive. At least that's what I'm hoping.
I'm okay with him
That's-
being dead. I'm fine with that. I feel like Jobin has served
That'd
his
be
purpose
hilarious.
well in Jojolion.
It'd be hilarious.
He gets
Oh, how about this? But you can finish your thought, Jim. But then
I
just wanna ask you
was
guys
trying. I was like, "Oh, happy you interrupted me because I forgot the name." Who's the hot pants? Like we don't want a hot pants situation where
something. Yeah.
he just. I mean,
Jobin-
we actually got more of one. Technically, we did see him quote unquote die. So,
Okay.
but
He let out a cartoonish amount of blood. Unless Mitsuba can put it back into him like with the arrow, because it probably can do that. Who knows?
Okay. Here's the question I leave you guys with for the end of our Jojolion 2020 year in review, Jokakaka podcast.
Award show ceremony.
Award show ceremony. It's like the episode of Office with the fun run, with the super long name. Okay,
It's fine.
but
Rolls off the tongue.
I know a lot of people might be forgetting about this character, but other people are very adamant about her returning. Do you think Kato Higashikata has any purpose in the story or any relevance at this point in Jojolion, or do you think she's even going to come back?
Guys,
Totally.
somewhere Aeon Star like twitched a little bit.
I genuinely, I think she'll come back and be seen, but I
Not
don't
her.
see any purpose she has in the story. Literally none. Maybe to save Jobin, maybe that's something she could do.
That's
or
the
be
only thing I can think of.
Something to help out the family, but like from her introduction and the way people have put hype on her, like I would be perfectly okay if she is never mentioned again and she never shows up again. I would be okay with that, genuinely.
I know Aeon's like on that train of her what's it called, being a rock female, like a human female.
yeah, and then so yeah, that's the theory of like, and then the Higashikata children are like half rock, half humans.
Would
I don't-
Tongue.
I don't buy it personally.
Aeon Star off his rocker sometimes. No, I'm kidding.
All these rock puns we're gonna like.
But no, I honestly do think we will see Kato return in a meaningful way. I think that
Jim wants to die on his
The
her
only
being
way
in
she
the
can
pocket of
return
Jobin.
meaningful is if she saves Jobin, or if it's like a Yakuza 2 ending where it's like, actually, I'm Toru. It's like, and she's Toru, and that's what it is. But like, we've seen her stand before, but like, I don't want to fight her. We cannot fight her. We cannot have her introduced and then her be the main villain. Like,
Or what if she's the one that just takes one of the other fruit, bites it, and just gives her life, like her heart to
yeah.
Jobin?
But I
All right,
think
well-
I think Kato main villain is killed at this point. Like, I just don't think it's possible.
Here's my prediction. So I think Kato will come back, but I think she will come back in 2023.
23.
Yes, there you go.
Wow.
I just feel like this year a lot of people forgot about Kato because we spent so much time with Toru and the Wonder of You, and I'm just
Well,
like, I thought about that. I was like, yeah, what the hell? Where
Kato
where
or
does Kato
Gura.
come into all this?
Or Carrera. Who knows?
I'm fine with either of them not coming back. Like,
Remember
I'm
Carrera
fine with
said,
Carrera not coming
remember
back.
Carrera said, "Oh, I'll be around."
Yeah, it's she honestly, like, I mean, I could like come up with ways like with Kato coming back where like, okay, saving Jobin, whatever. Carrera, I can't think of any meaningful way. She might show up in like a epilogue, but that's it.
Toru's like hair, and then just gonna grow like horrific amount of hair off of him. Like his afro just grows like 10 times.
That's how
And
she
that's
beats him.
That's how they win.
Yeah,
This
Yasuo
is
doesn't
how-
get the final punch. It's Carrera.
Carrera, everybody wanted to. Do you think? All right, and then do you think Tsurugi will be like somehow like healed by the end of the year or not?
Oh, that
Yeah.
we didn't even talk about Tsurugi like at
well,
all.
in
Well,
the
Tsurugi
flash
was
forward,
suffering.
we know that Tsurugi's not being like whatever it is, like
Exploding.
exploding anymore. Pretty much, yeah. So we know
So-
that.
Tsurugi's
Yeah, I
is
mean-
suffering like
I-
Yasuo did.
What
Yeah,
if
I think we
what if they
probably
do
will see
this?
that.
So since Jobin is like on his way out, he's almost dead. What if Jobin is like, well, I'm already like dying anyways. Why don't I just sacrifice myself and use the rest of my remaining like good cells and save Tsurugi? And then
Good
Jobin ends
cells.
up doing a sacrifice for Tsurugi. I can see that
Jobin
happening.
becomes Tsurugi.
That's good. I mean, that would make sense, and it would kind of also like be a good like little sacrifice for Jobin, because like Jobin's whole thing
Little
is that he
redemption.
doesn't want a sacrifice to happen.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to get the new Rokakaka because he doesn't want Norisuke to die. But like,
That would be good. That would kind of like it would end Jobin off on a good note. Like he took the wrong path, but ultimately he ended up taking responsibility and sacrificing. But it also shows that like he probably could have been successful if he chose the right path. But since he chose the wrong path, he has to like live with the consequences.
yeah, that's pretty good. I like it.
Did I go down the wrong path? No, the Hishikadas that went down the wrong path. Like,
All right, so I guess that's it.
Yeah, I think
I did
so.
it.
This was fun. It was really fun to like revisit Jojolion and like kind of recontextualize all of these things that I've forgotten or have fallen by the wayside.
especially those early chapters.
Totally.
I mean, we'll have in a couple of days from this recording. We'll have a new chapter. So
Yep, chapter
excited for that.
104.
I'm not even ready.
Me either.
I know. God, what day is that? Fall upon?
It'll be like the 19th, something like that, probably.
That'd
So,
be a
about
Sunday,
week.
Monday. Oh boy. I'm so used to
Alright,
these Friday
well-
releases.
Yeah, if it
While
comes
I'm
out in
at
the next like 24 hours, woo boy.
I don't think of that.
All right, well, I think
Guess we'll plug it up.
yeah, if you want to plug anything, we'll let Julian go first.
YouTube.com/Xforts, Twitter, Julian Forts, and that's about it.
Hell yeah.
All right. You can also, for us,
Uh,
you can follow everybody on Twitter. Do you say something?
I was just gonna say thank you guys for inviting me. I always enjoy coming on and talking to you guys about Jojolion.
Yeah,
no
thank
problem.
you.
And when
This
part
is,
9 gets confirmed and you guys rebrand your channel, I'd love to come on and talk about part 9.
We'll worry about that when we get there.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, you can follow all of us here on Twitter, of course. Please like, comment, subscribe to everybody's channel here. I can't wait to see those comments. And join Discord, of course. And I think that's it, unless you have anything else to plug.
No,
Jim?
that's about it. Yeah,
Thanks.
just check us out. Once again, thank you all for listening. This is a really fun thing we do. I know we don't normally do too many like special episodes, but again, thank you for joining us, Julian. It was a real
Yes.
fun time.
Love it.
Super fun.
All right, and with that, we're gonna bid adieu. Until 2021. Oh wait, shit, it's already 2021.
Shit. So, one
Until
year
2021 year in review.
Hell yeah.
award show ceremony part 2.
Part 2. All right. Goodbye.